Hello, I'm Scott Wipperman, the pastor here at First Presbyterian Church. And no matter who you are or where you are in your journey of faith, know that you're welcome here. We hope you enjoy today's service on this video, and we invite you to come join us for worship anytime that you would like, or join us in any of the other activities of the church. For more information about First Presbyterian Church, please visit our website at fpchelena.com or call us at 442-4775. God bless.
And our reading from Acts today comes from the first chapter. In my former book, Theophilus, I wrote about all that Jesus began to do and teach until the day he was taken up to heaven, after giving instructions through the Holy Spirit to the apostles he had chosen. After his suffering, he showed himself to these men and gave many convincing proofs that he was alive. He appeared to them over a period of 40 days and spoke about the kingdom of God. After this, he was taken up before their very eyes, and a cloud hid him from their sight. They were looking up intently into the sky as he was going, when suddenly two men dressed in white stood beside them. Men of Galilee, they said, why do you stand here looking into the sky? This same Jesus who has been taken up from you into heaven will come back in the same way you have seen him go into heaven. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Well, in 1 John, John tells us that if we love God, then we follow his commands. And then something else kind of mysteriously, miraculously happens. If we love God and we follow his commands, then we love all of his children. There's nothing extra that we had to do. It just happens that way. We love God, we follow his commands, and we love his children. So John's telling us that this is what we ought to do. This is a sign that we love God, if we're following his commands and doing as he says. And then he goes on to tell us that following God's commands really isn't burdensome. It's really quite easy, particularly for us. Back in Jesus' time, people of the Jewish faith were following the mitzvah. The mitzvah has 613 commands in it. I don't know if that's necessarily burdensome, but it might be hard to remember all 613 at any given moment here. Most of us have trouble coming up with all 10 of the 10 commandments, right? Now, some of these 613 commands are very good, that kings shouldn't have lots of gold and silver, that we should love a stranger, that we should not reap the corners of our fields or our orchards to leave food for the poor. There's a few of the 613 that are, shall we say, interesting. Some things like that we shouldn't mix olive oil with flour used for sin offering. Is it all right if we use canola oil? Who knows? That we shouldn't use hewn rocks to build our altar. I'm not sure what's so bad about hewn rocks, but for some reason you don't want to touch those when building an altar. It says that we shouldn't sell a beautiful woman who was captured through war. Okay. And then there's one I can completely agree with. We shouldn't eat winged insects. No problem with that one, okay? But God only gives us 10 commandments, and it's not burdensome. It's easy to follow these commandments. It's something simple that we can do. And then Jesus comes along in John and tells us that if we follow his commands, then we love him. Then we'll be in his love. This is just kind of the opposite. Before in 1 John, it was if we love God, then we'll follow his commands. And here it is, if we follow Jesus' commands, then we'll love Jesus. We'll be in his love. So I'm guessing it doesn't really matter which side we approach this from, of following commands first, then we evolve into love, or if we love, then we follow the commands. It works out better either way. And Jesus makes it even less burdensome for us, because while he does say, if you follow my commands, plural, he then goes on to just give us one. Love others as I have loved you. Now he does tack on that fact that you may need to lay down your life for another. There's no greater love than one who would lay down his life for another. But in one simple thing, all we have to do is love one another. And we're following Jesus' commands. Simple. Easy. Now, Jesus does go on to say that you didn't choose him. He chose you. And you. And you. And that guy walking down 11th Street right now, 11th Avenue right now, Jesus chose all of these people. And so it's the children of God that we love when we love God and follow God's commands. And so that is all of these people that Jesus has chosen that we love. All of God's children when we do this. And then Peter comes along. He's opening up Acts. And he's telling us that he wrote this book. And in this book, he put down all that Jesus did and taught. And we presume from this that this is not just post-resurrection stuff. This is things from the beginning of Jesus' ministry that he did and that he taught, that he put down in this book. And he also says that post Jesus' resurrection, Jesus came and for 40 days was talking about the kingdom of God to the disciples, showing them, being with them, proving to them that he was alive, that he was risen. And after he said these things, after these 40 days, one day they're with him and Jesus just gets taken up. And the disciples are all watching as he goes up until he's hidden by a cloud. And while they're all looking up there, two men in white walk up, stand next to them, kind of look up and try to see what they're looking at. Nothing but kind of sky and clouds, right? And so they turn to the guys and they say, "Why are you sitting here looking up at the sky? Why are you standing here?" There are things to do. There's work to be done. Get a move on it. If I can get put back together here. There was a 20-ish-year-old man who had had some trouble with relationships, so he came to his grandfather and he asked him for advice about relationships. And his grandfather said, the day that I stopped worrying about trying to find the right woman and decided that I would become the right man, your grandmother walked up to me and said hello. So why are you standing here? Go out and become that right person. There was a woman got a call from her daughter's kindergarten teacher. And the teacher asked why she hadn't been sending lunches with her daughter this week. So the mother hung up the phone and inquired of her daughter as to what she was doing with her lunches. And her daughter said, "Well, Katie's mom is in the hospital, and she hasn't been able to make lunch for Katie, so I've been giving her my lunch." So why are you standing here? Go out and make lunch for somebody. Give somebody lunch. There was a young man who was sitting on a ledge in a park, thinking and looking out over the distance, and he heard something behind him. And he turned around to see that there was this young woman coming down the steps on the verge of crying. And so he got up and walked up to greet her and asked what was wrong. And she said, "Well, I'm horribly afraid of heights, but I was trying to overcome my fear because I wanted to come down to you. I saw you sitting there all by yourself, and I thought you might be lonely, and I wanted to see if you were okay. Why are you standing here? Go out and check and see if someone's okay." It had been a really lousy day for this high schooler. And now she was in the back seat of the car, driving with her family out to a family dinner, next to her 12-year-old brother who had never been affectionate to her. You see, her boyfriend had dumped her that day, and she hadn't yet told her family about it. And she was wearing some sunglasses to hide the tears that were in her eyes. And her younger brother looked at her once and then looked away and looked back again and looked away, and then he reached over and he held her hand. And he kept holding it until they got to where they were going to dinner. Why are you standing here? Go out. Hold somebody's hand. There was someone who had had a good friend from high school for 10 years. And one day that good friend acknowledged that during high school he had been very depressed. And the friend felt horrible and asked, "How could I have gone and been your friend? I must have been a lousy friend because I never realized this during high school." And he said, "Oh, you probably never caught on because whenever you came around, I smiled. You're the one who got me through it." Why are you standing here? Go out and be the reason, be the help that someone gets through it. The young man confessed that I had my life all planned out, but I didn't count on this. I didn't count on you. I didn't count on your love. It showed me that my dreams were all too small. Why are you standing here? Dream bigger, and then go out and live those dreams. You know, he never thought she was beautiful. He thought that she was smart, and she thought that he was funny, and she thought that he was kinder to him than he deserved, but he never thought she was beautiful. He knew that she was beautiful, for even a blind man could see that. Why are you standing here? Go out and see others with more than your vision. Someone said that finally they stopped being foolish and they called their best friend who a year ago had helped her through a difficult time. And in her depression, she had lashed out at this friend and called him some pretty nasty things and cut off their relationship. But she finally decided enough was enough, and she picked up the phone and she called this person. And the first thing he said is, "You ready to pick up where we left off?" And it made her smile. So why are you standing here? Go, call, talk, visit that person, that other. They're waiting for you. There's a young mother who was playing with her 20-month-old daughter. And she laid down and pretended like she was asleep. And her daughter got a blanket and put it over her and patted her on the back and then gave her a kiss on her lips, which is exactly what the mother does every night when she tucks this child in. And the mother thought how much it is that our children learn from how we act. Made her think. So, why are you standing here? Go and learn from Jesus Christ. See what he did. Watch his actions and learn from that. Because this anthem we just sang wasn't, I want to look like Jesus. It was, I want to talk like Jesus. I want to walk like Jesus. I want to give like Jesus. I want to get my hands down in the dirt. I want to be there for other people. I want to be a comfort. Yes, why are we standing here? Let's go walk and talk like Jesus talked. Let us go be a comfort to others. Let us go hold someone's hand. Let us feed someone lunch. Let us reach out to those who we think may be down and help give them a hand up. Because Jesus said, love others like I have loved you. And just in case we didn't get it, again he ends that section that we read with, I tell you, go out and love others. So let us get up off our feet. Let us go out and do these things